Hello again everyone, Mike Ramsey here on another Lightroom show and tell. The first video in this series was a brief tour of Lightroom and to give you an idea for an existing catalogue what Lightroom looks like and where to find things. But of course if you're starting from scratch you haven't got an existing Lightroom catalogue to look at and play with. And I don't want to do too many of these videos using my own catalogue in case I start collapsing all of the last few years' work. So I'm going to create a brand new catalogue, which is what will happen to someone starting Lightroom for the first time. I'm going to create a default catalogue simply to get a catalogue available that is clean, uncluttered, and the same as most people will have when they start from scratch. As I said before, a catalogue is a record of where your images are. And to start with, a brand new catalogue won't have any images there because it doesn't know where your images are and it's not going to go and find them unless you tell it to. And as Lightroom helpfully tells you, to begin you need to click Import, which is the button down here. Brief word about importing. You can import all of your existing images in their existing locations and just point Lightroom to them so that you don't need to reorganize anything that you've done up till now. If you've got your own file structure that you are happy with, then by all means do that, and it's a very useful way of starting off. However, if you want to just dip your toe in the water, as it were, and get used to it before you go the whole hog of importing everything, then this is the way to do it. The import dialog is also what you'll use when you bring images into your computer from your card, from your camera, your SD card or something. So let's just look at how importing works. I'm pressing the import button, bottom left, and this dialog appears. Helpfully it tells you to select a source. This screen layout is fairly straightforward. You need to select a source on the left, where your image is at the moment. Tell Lightroom what to do. Do you want to copy them, move them, or add them? And where do you want them to go to? So what I want to do is pick up some images from a folder on my existing hard drive. I could pick all of my existing picture catalogue if I wanted to by selecting the picture folder, selecting all of them, add them to this new catalogue where they are without moving them to a new location because I'm just recording this whole folder structure that's already there, and import. I don't want to do that because that's just going to duplicate what I've got already. If there was an SD card, that would appear here, so you could copy them from your SD card onto a folder structure. But for the purposes of this demonstration, these images from October are what I will use, and I will include the subfolders because I want to include not only my Spanish holiday photos here to bore you with, but also the model shoot because a lot of you are there and will have seen that. So I'm going to import that, including all the subfolders. I'm not going to move these images because they're already on the hard disk, and I would never suggest moving them using Lightroom on its own. I would always suggest copying them so that it will copy the images to the new location, but it will leave the originals where they are. That way you can make sure they've got to the new place before you delete them from the old place. Moving is slightly more dangerous and not recommended. In this case I'll just add them because I don't want to move them at all. That would just take up extra time. They're already in the place I want, and if you use another piece of software, some people use things like Photo Mechanic to get their images off their card onto their computer. If you use that to put it into the folder structure that you want, you can do that by all means, and then just point your Lightroom import dialog to that folder that you've just added them to and add them to the Lightroom records, and then press import. I'll just hold back a second on that. Obviously there's a selection possibility here. You can go through and decide that you do or don't want to take particular images into Lightroom. They may be just phone snapshots like those, and you might want to deselect them. You can check all or uncheck all. I'm just going to take everything in and import. There's a progress thing here which says I'm importing the files in their current location, and then that will tell me when they're finished. As that goes along the bar, it will show me when it's finished. I don't want to do address lookups. I don't like using GPS things. So here we are, it's importing them, and when they're task completed, that's fine. So here we are, we're now seeing the library view that we looked at in the other video, and here on my master's hard disk is this folder with the models in that I've just added. So these are now able and usable for me to edit. I can go and edit and develop images if I want to. I can look at them in larger views. As you see, if I hover the mouse over the middle there, it's got a plus on. I can zoom into 100% and see whether they're sharp. That was taken handheld, which is probably why it's not sharp. I can go back to the grid view with a G key. So I've now got access to developing and playing with these images in Lightroom. Remember that any changes you make to these images do not affect the original. I'll just show you an extreme example for the sake of argument. Here is one. Let's leave it on that one. It's all blurry, it's not very good. Let's just say I want to make it really bright and cut back the highlights and overexpose it. That's not how it was originally. I'll leave that. If I now go and show this in Finder, no matter what I've done there, it's still showing as it was originally in the folder. I haven't touched the original, I've just changed the preview that the settings that Lightroom is going to apply to that image if I do anything with it. Right, that's enough for importing. That's getting you started. Next video will be going on a bit more about cataloging, rating and culling images. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you've got any questions.